Hi, well, in this video I'm going to be making a knife sheath for Strider SMF. In the last couple of months I've been working with leather a little bit, and kind of my first little leather project was making a sheath for my Rickender XM24. And the funny thing is I really don't use knife sheaths, but it sounded kind of like a fun leather project to do. And after actually making it, I could see working on my property or something like that, using it in a sheath where it'd be easier to get to than a front pocket. And molds pretty well because it kind of fits snug, and then when it comes in, kind of snaps in there, so it's a nice tight fit. In making it, really I learned how to make it by watching other online videos. So there's plenty of videos out on YouTube on how to make a leather sheath, and in this video I'm just going to be going through and just kind of showing quick steps on how to make one for a Strider SMF. And here I've got two of mine. Just have the Stonewash Ranger Green, and then this one here is 3/4 grind all black. And first step, what I did is I've got some, it's kind of cheaper leather, but works pretty good. It's vegetable tanned, and this is the belly, so you can get a large sheet of this for like 20 bucks. But what I'm going to do is kind of planning this out. I'm going to want this to help right here on the pocket clip to help kind of lock it in the sheath, and I'll use this part here where it goes up is kind of the ramp, so when it goes in it doesn't catch like this. This little ramp up here should help to kind of guide it in, then it'll snap in place. So I want to kind of figure out roughly where it's going to go, and then what I'm going to actually do is get some water. I actually take water almost to boiling. By boiling the leather, or pouring boiling water over the leather, it hardens it up. And I'll show you kind of the next step. So what I'll do is I'll take it, I'll put this in like a little glass pan, pour some boiling water over it, let it soak for maybe 30 seconds or so. Then I'll take it over here and I'll show you how I do it by actually, I'll wrap the SMF in just some clear plastic wrap. I'll oil the blade up and oil everything really good just so moisture doesn't hurt it, but then I'll wrap it in plastic wrap. Once the leather's boiled, it's almost like rubbery. So then what I'll do is I'll place that down, start molding around, and then start stapling around as I kind of work in and really form the leather to the knife. And I'll show that in the next step. Right now I'm going to go ahead and boil the leather, or pour the boiling water over it, and start forming it. Okay, water is about ready to go, and now I have the knife wrapped in the plastic wrap. Oiled the knife up real good, and let's see. One thing I'm going to do real quick before I go ahead and I put the water on is I'm going to take this and just kind of bevel this edge, just kind of smooth it up a bit. And then now what I'm going to do is take and dampen this edge a bit. Take this edge slicker, and once this is a little bit damp, then I just kind of go over this. It smooths out that edge. I'm doing it dry right now, but just kind of showing you when it's damp. Take it like that. So then once I've formed it, I've got this kind of nice smooth edge right here. But right now I'm going to go ahead, pour boiling water over this, let it sit for a minute, and I'll come right back and start molding it to the knife. Okay, now I've actually poured the boiling water over this, and what I do is I pour boiling water over, pour it over the back side until as soon as you pour it over, it sounds almost like it's you can see the air coming out of it and bubbling, and since I did use boiling water, it starts to actually, the corners start to curl a little bit. But right now it's perfect to start actually molding this. So what I'll do is I'll put that there, then I have this here, which is really just a bone. Now I just start coming in, just kind of working the edge a bit. And right now I'm just kind of doing it quick, because what I'm going to do in a minute is I'm going to come in and I'm going to actually staple down the leather to this board. That way I can really kind of fixes it in place, and I can really start getting that hard edge, start working in around the clip, so when the knife comes in here, pocket clip's actually going to catch in here. So I'll just start working this, and at this point I can actually go ahead and start stapling this down. Okay, I do one side at a time. Start working that, and as the leather starts drying out a bit, you can really start molding it a lot more. You can see already how it's, you know, kind of taking shape there. So now I can just about, I could probably do the other side now. Ooh. So now I'll staple down this side. You want to keep the staples far enough away from the edge, because we're going to be cutting this out afterwards. So I want to make sure that we leave ourselves enough room to cut it out and then stitch. Okay, I'll stop right about here, because what I have to do is start working around this curve, and depending, I might have to cut kind of some triangles out of the leather to help it kind of mold around this bottom edge here. But I'll come in and you just keep working it, and that leather, I mean, it's almost like a clay. It's really nice to work with. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep working at it, and I'll come back in a minute and take some more video so you can see the progress. Well, you can see it's starting to take shape here. The leather's still pretty wet, and as it starts to dry a little bit more, it gets a little easier to work with. Let's see if I can kind of rotate this a bit so you can get a better view of what's going on here. I'm going through and kind of molding it in. I want this to really have a nice snug fit, so when it's in there, there's no way it's going to fall out. So I'm just going to continue going through and molding it. What I'll probably do is, at this stage, I'll usually put it in the oven. I'll set the lowest setting my oven will go to is 170. So I'll set it at like 170 degrees, put it in the oven for about 5 to 10 minutes. Just start baking the leather. It helps harden the leather and also dries it out a little more, so I can really come in and start kind of finishing it up a little bit. But I mean, right here, I'm only, probably 15-20 minutes into it. This really doesn't take that long. Kind of a fun little project. I've gotten all my, leather and leather tools at Tandy Leather online, and it's not. There's other places. So, and if you have a local place that sells leather supplies, but I live way up in the mountains, so there's no places. So I order everything online at Tandy Leather. Your basic tools really. Of course, just a utility knife. I have this for beveling the edges. I don't know if you can see it here, but there's a little groove. There's different sizes. Right now, there's the only size I have. I'm just starting off in leatherworking. A couple other tools. this right here, I'll show you later. This is for making the groove where then I'll run this. This puts in the little, you can see it's kind of like a little star wheel. And what I'll do is once I cut it out, I'll make a groove for the stitching. Then I'll run this, and this will put the little indentations where I'll stitch, and I'll show all that. But really just some basic tools, all you need to do something like this. With this for, you know, shaping the leather, they make some inexpensive ones like this plastic one. I don't like it as much as the actual bone. To me, the bone just has a good feel to it, and it's just really nice to work with. So, and another thing I forgot to mention right off the bat, this leather sheath that I'm actually making for a giveaway on USN in the contest section, and it'll be just kind of a fun little project for me, get a little more experience making a knife sheath, and a fun giveaway and leather sheath for someone. So now I'm going to fire up the oven and put this in for a few. Well, I'm about done forming it for tonight. Now it's just need to let it sit and dry overnight, and tomorrow what I'll be able to do is I'll come in and do a little bit of touch up, not too much, but tomorrow it'll be dry. So then I'll go ahead and take the staples out, and I'll cut it back just to the edge of the staple line here and start working on the back. And really what I've done on the back is, let me adjust the light here. You'll see the back is made up of two pieces, and I folded it right on this corner. You can see where that fold is. And I'll show you how I did that. Really, I just take and I make a crease in it. Then I take and cut out a line so I can get that nice crisp fold over there. Then I'll go ahead and I'll cut out the portion right here that your belt will go through, and reinforce the corners right here, because this is where it's going to get a lot of stress coming in and out. And on the Strider one here, I'll probably do full stitching all around, just because I think it's going to have some stress in here because there's a thicker point where it's going to have to come through, and just I want to make a real durable sheath. So you can see here where I've come and I've stitched all around this edge here, and then put these little studs in the corner here. Not sure if I'll put the studs in there or not. I may. I'll see. But adjust the light around so you can kind of see a little bit how I've kind of done some of the molding. I kind of molded around the blade here. Molded in here so the pocket clip can help it kind of stay in place. And the leather will shrink as it dries. Try to get some crisp corners around here where it molds around the top of the Strider. And that's about it for tonight. So now it's going to let it dry and check it tomorrow.